How a Boy Named Joseph Changed My Life.
Miss, I gotta talk to you.
Not now, Joe. Please go back to your desk and continue to read.
But miss, we have to talk.
No, if it's important, you can talk to me after class. It was my first teaching job, and I was sure I was going to make the difference in my students' lives. The school I was hired to teach in that year was tough. All right, Joe, what's so important that it couldn't wait until after class?
Miss, I made a mistake.
What kind of a mistake? What's going on?
A bad mistake, miss. I don't know what to do.
What's happened?
If I tell you, you have to promise not to tell on me.
Joseph was 11 and he was a 6th grader. He came into my class with a bad attitude and a hefty discipline record. From the first day, he was disruptive and defiant. And there was just something about him that made me want to break through all of that and help him. So I worked for months to build a rapport with him. I helped him with his homework. I allowed him to be in my classroom at lunch and after school so he would stay out of trouble. I would talk to him about what his future could be and how he had so much potential if he had just made the right decisions. He talked about wanting to join the military, the Army, I think. We spent a lot of time together, and so by March, when this conversation took place, I was feeling pretty confident that I had made a difference in Joe's life and that he understood the best path to success was school. Joe, you know I can't promise that. Just tell me what's going on and we'll deal with it.
Okay, miss, please, just don't get mad at me, okay?
Okay, but you have to tell me what's going on.
I brought a gun to school.
That one sentence shattered everything I thought I understood about who I was, what my job was, and what I understood about life. At 26, I thought I had a solid understanding of my place in the world. I hadn't grown up rich, nor was I particularly poor. I grew up on a dairy farm in Northern California with my mother, stepfather, and 3 brothers. I struggled somewhat in school due to a learning disability, but I learned to work around it and felt I was a stronger person for it. My parents expected good grades. A C was as good as a failure. We were either expected to go to college or join the military. These ideas were generally reinforced when I would visit my father and my stepmother every Christmas and summer. They were both teachers and they lived and breathed school. I knew that not all families were like mine, but I felt like we were pretty typical. I had no idea the privilege I enjoyed until Joseph enlightened me by breaking my heart. I asked Joseph why he had a gun at school, and he told me that there were some boys that were planning to jump him later that day. Then I asked him why they were going to jump him. What had he done? And he said it was because they were from a rival gang. My heart sunk. We had talked about gangs and how they would only make his life tougher, and I thought he had understood. And then Joseph said the one thing that I've carried throughout the years.
Miss, you tell me how to get away from being in a gang when your whole family is part of it. I'm 11. What am I supposed to do? My mother, father, aunts, uncles, cousins, we're all in the gang.
That was the moment I understood what privilege really meant. For me, it was about family. When people ask me how this incident shaped my teaching philosophy, my e-learning philosophy, it changed me by changing who I am and how I see life around me. I still have conversations with students about high expectations and being the best incarnation of themselves. But now I understand that sometimes those things take risks that are bigger than the student. Those risks take support and empathy and hard work and someone to guide the way where the student themselves see no path. I've worked now for 15 years in a high school, and the lesson I took from Joseph is that equity isn't achieved by an ideal or a program or a system, but by looking at the student in front of me, the person in front of me, and understanding their challenges and respecting who they are and where they come from by setting the bar high and helping them reach for it. E-learning is one of those tools that has the potential to be a game changer. It can give students the access to learning when and where they need it, on their terms. For me, e-learning creates doors where right now there are only walls.
Created using Powtoon.